Very good morning to all. Welcome back to Appreciating Theatre. Today we are going to see the question answers of one act play, The Bear. The first question is, discuss the play The Bear as a farcical comedy, or how far would you agree that The Bear is an absurd play, or discuss the element of humor and absurdity in The Bear. The answer is, comedy is a play in which the writer exposes the social evils of the people like pretension and hypocrisy. സാധാരണ കോമഡി നമ്മുടെ സമൂഹത്തിൽ കണ്ടുവരുന്ന കാപട്യങ്ങളെ തുറന്ന് കാണിക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ് അതിൻ്റെ ഉദ്ദേശം. The Bear is a farce rather than an absurd play because it is full of fun, fury and boisterous, noisy laughter. So, rather than an absurd play, it is more of a farce. Farce means actually an exaggerated or ridiculous comedy. മലയാളത്തിൽ തന്നെ പ്രഹസന നാടകം അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പരിഹാസ നാടകം എന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. Because in absurd play, it exposes the meaninglessness of life. But actually it is not strictly an absurd play, rather than a farce. The behavior of the characters is ridiculous, funny, emotional and sentimental. So we have got two characters, that is Popova and Smirnov. Both are ridiculous, funny, unpredictable characters. Popova is a beautiful young widow. Her husband died 7 months ago. After the death of her husband, she has decided not to see anybody. So she wanted to continue her mourning for her husband even after 7 months, and she did not want to go out. She outwardly shows her grief to others by wearing a black dress and remaining in the four walls of her house. So more than what she really is, it was a kind of drama. She was simply acting out. It was not her real self. This mourning and all that was just a farce, not real. She lives in darkness even during the daytime. So she didn't want to go out. She wanted to remain inside her room. When Luca advises her to give up her mourning, she says, "My life is already at an end. He is in his grave and I have buried myself between four walls. We are both dead." So these are the words of Popova when her servant is asking her to stop mourning for the husband. This is however all affectation. Here affectation means not real, just acting. What do you call a kind of showing off. So that is the meaning of affectation. It's more of like veshangattal or natyam. So hypocrisy. Kapatyana. One day Smirnov, a moneylender, comes and insists on seeing her. She meets him contrary to her wishes. So in the beginning she doesn't like to meet anybody, but at the end she meets this man, Smirnov. He tells Popova that he has come to get the money back, the 1,200 rubles that he had lent to her husband who is dead. Popova agrees to repay him the debt, but requests him to come back when her steward comes. So she is telling she has no money and is asking him to come back after a few days when the steward comes back. But Smirnov insists on getting the money immediately. Both attack each other with unpleasant words. Then Popova talks to Smirnov meanly and rudely. So here starts a fight, a kind of verbal duel between Smirnov and Popova. Both are calling each other bad words. So she begins calling him, "You are a boor." Boor means, kind of uneducated or uncivilized man. In Malayalam we say Muradan മര്യാദയില്ലാത്തവനൊക്കെ അതിൻ്റെ അർത്ഥം. ദാറ്റ് ഇസ് മീനിങ് ഓഫ് ബൂർ. എ കോഴ്സ് bear. Coarse means very rude. Bobbin is again another bad word, a monster. So she is calling him kind of uncivilized creature. She explains that he knows nothing about how to treat women. So she goes on attacking him till he doesn't know how to behave towards women. He ridicules all women. So in return, he is telling all the women are useless, untrustworthy and all that. He accuses the women by saying they are all insincere, selfish and hypocritical. So according to him, all the women are insincere, selfish and hypocritical. കാപട്യം നിറഞ്ഞത്. Both start to fight with the pistols in a duel. At the end, they decided to go for a duel with pistols. So at that moment, Smirnov falls in love with Popova and says, her eyes, what an inspiring woman. So meanwhile, we find her, being trained by Smirnov. Smirnov is teaching her how to shoot with the pistol. And while he was training her, and he is falling in love with her. The reader laughs to see the different moods of Popova and Smirnov in different situations. So the mood fluctuation is very evident in both these characters. Once they are very angry, the next moment they become very romantic. The play, The Bear, starts in a tragic situation where we see a quarrel at the outset, and the end is in a comic way. So the starting is rather tragic in the sense you find a woman who is mourning her dead husband, and then you find Smirnov coming and fighting with her. But at the end it ends up in a comical, funny way. The writer has a keen observation of three unities of time, place and action. Okay. Second question is, discuss the title of the play, The Bear. Why does Popova call Smirnov the bear? The title of the play, The Bear, is ironic. So here we are going to see the relevance of the title, The Bear, how suitable or not suitable it is. The answer: as an animal, the bear stands for stubborn nature, sore-headedness, ill-tempered and quarrelsome. So these are the qualities of a bear. Stubborn, very arrogant. Markkodamushti, pidivashi, has the meaning of obstinate, stubborn. Sore-headedness, again it means kshipragopi, very ill-tempered, more or less same meaning. Quarrelsome, always fighting, akramasmao. So a bear remains untidy, dirty and filthy all the time. So the bear is rather dirty animal. So same is the physical condition of Smirnov in the play. So here you find him standing in front of the mirror in Popova's dressing room, and he is commenting on his appearance that he looks very dirty. He admits that. It becomes evident and clear as to when Popova leaves the drawing room, he looks at his own self and utters his physical condition in words. Dirty, unwashed, unkempt, straw on my waistcoat. So all these words show that he is not very clean, it's very dirty. Like a bear, he is also obstinate, aggressive and quarrelsome. So these are the qualities of the bear which you find in this main character, Smirnov. His ill-mannered nature becomes clear when he enters Popova's drawing room without permission. So he is entering without asking permission from the lady. Similarly, his obstinacy becomes evident when he insists on staying in the presence of Popova while she implores him to go out. So in spite of her request to get out of her room or house, he goes on staying there. He doesn't care about her request. That also shows he is very ill-mannered and obstinate. Being irrational, sentimental and aggressive, he does not speak and behave with Popova softly and gently. So he is very irrational. Irrational means yuktihinamaya. Sentimental, of course, vaigariyamaya. Then aggressive, in a fighting mood. all the time. So naturally he behaves very rudely towards Popova. He calls not only Popova disobedient, faithless and insincere, but also all other women. So he is generalizing, telling that not only this lady but all the women are same. He speaks to her so rudely that she is even compelled to speak with him roughly and harshly. So when he is talking to her rudely, she also is returning in the same coin, calling him all kind of bad words. He castigates, rebukes and taunts in so harsh and quarrelsome manner that Popova is bound to say, "You are a rude, ill-bred man." So because he was going on abusing her, rather scolding her. Castigate means actually ശാസിക്കുക, നിന്ദിക്കുക. Taunt means കുത്തുവാക്ക് പറയുക അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ആക്ഷേപിക്കുക. So because of all that, she is telling that he is rude and ill-bred man. Ill-bred means brought up in a bad way, സംസ്കാരശൂന്യമായ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മര്യാദയില്ലാത്ത. That's the meaning of ill-bred. He becomes even more aggressive and angry when Popova orders her servant Luca to send him out. So at the end she calls out the servant to throw him out of the house. So he becomes all the more angry. Here he starts yelling and condemning Luca. Yelling means shouting. Condemning means criticizing or almost like shouting. കുറ്റപ്പെടുത്തുക അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അപലപിക്കുക. That's the meaning of condemn. So Popova says, "You are a boor, a coarse bear, Boban, a monster." These are the words she is using to call him. The situation becomes even more thrilling and exciting when he says to Popova to fight a duel with pistols. So at the end you find Popova is challenging him to fight a duel with pistols, upon which Popova calls him bear, bear, bear. In short, we can say that the title aptly and superbly suits the action as well as the subject matter of the play. So in the sense that the title is very much suitable to Smirnov. So the title is suitable in that sense. Not only Smirnov is physically termed so, but also behavior wise. So not only in his appearance, even his behavior, he is like a bear, rude. The title of the play is ironic. Ironic in the sense she is calling him all that names. At the end they both are falling in love. In that sense, that is ironic. So apparently Popova has called Smirnov a bear, while at the end of the play she accepts him as her future husband. That's the meaning of ironic. Now we come to the themes of the play. There are a few themes that we find throughout the play. So we will see one by one. First we have themes of love and faithfulness between a husband and wife. For Popova, love was something she felt for her husband until his death, and faithfulness became a duty, a point to prove afterwards. So she has been loving her husband throughout, and she would like to remain faithful to him even after her death, after his death, or till her death. Readers learn in her opening exchange with Luca that Popova loved her husband Nikolai even though he treated her cruelly at times. She also admits that he was unfaithful to her. So the husband was very unfaithful. He had affairs with many women, but still you find Popova is loving him. But Popova vows to be faithful to Nikolai until her own death, to show him how she loves. So in spite of the husband's faithlessness, she would like to remain faithful to him till death. Alone and speaking to Nikolai's photograph, Popova states that she will show him how loving and forgiving she can be and ask if he is ashamed. So while talking to the photograph, she is promising that she would remain faithful to him and asking whether he is not ashamed of his own behavior. Promising to keep herself locked away and faithful until her death, she calls him a bad child and bitterly recalls how he deceived her and left her alone for weeks at a time. So, in front of the portrait or the photograph, she is recalling all his bad behavior and bad manners, or how he had been unfaithful to her, because he had left her alone for weeks together to be with other women and all that. After Smirnov's appearance, when their discussion has shifted from financial matters to matters of the heart, Smirnov makes a speech about the women he used to love and how passionately he loved them. So here you find Smirnov is giving a speech about all women he had seen in his life and how he used to love them and all that. So the theme of love is coming here in both Smirnov as well as Popova. Yet he has been deceived by them, he insists, and asks Popova if she has ever known a woman who was sincere, faithful and constant. So in the view of Smirnov, though he had loved many women, they never remained faithful or sincere to him. So he is asking her whether she had seen any woman who was faithful or sincere. Popova, whose own life has been scarred by an unfaithful husband, rails at Smirnov, stating that the best man she ever knew, her husband, could not manage to be faithful. So here Popova is also revealing her life, her tragic story of her husband, how unfaithful he had been and all that. In spite of her trust and faith in her husband, he never remained so. Actually, he was cheating on her. She described the depth of her love for Nikolai, how she worshipped him. So, in spite of all that, like a faith and like a fidelity, she goes on loving him and worshipping him. Popova discovered, she tells Smirnov, a whole drawer full of love letters following Nikolai's death. So, after her husband's death, she is discovering so many love letters written by her husband to other women. She has since admitted to herself what she probably suspected when Nikolai was alive. His trips away from home were opportunities for him to be unfaithful. So he had been away for many weeks altogether. So that shows the husband's unfaithfulness. Yet, in spite of Nikolai's deception and adultery, Popova states she continues to remain faithful and will do so to the very end. So, though her husband was never faithful to her, she would like to remain faithful to him till her death. Her faithfulness, as her comments indicate, seems to be generated by her need to spite Nikolai after his death, to prove to him that she is stronger and better than him. So her faithfulness towards him is a kind of challenge. She wants to prove that she is better than him when it comes to being faithful. As her whisperings to his picture suggest, she simply wants Nikolai to have the decency to feel ashamed of his actions. So in front of the photograph, she is whispering and she wants him to be ashamed of his behavior. By the end of the play, as she begins to be swayed by the force of Smirnov's feelings, Popova shows a willingness to abandon her futile bitterness. So towards the end, you find she forgets everything, all her promises made to the husband and all that. Suddenly she begins to be attracted towards Smirnov's strength and power. So all that bitterness she had towards her husband, everything suddenly vanishes. In this sense, her embrace of Smirnov may be seen as an openness to a new relationship, despite the emotional risk involved. So there are a lot of risk involved in this new relationship, but then she forgets everything in a moment. Next theme is theme of emotions and man in the bear. The play The Bear carries the theme that man is a slave to his feelings. He may try and tame his emotions for a while, but it shall not work for a longer period of a time. So this one act play proves that man, or for that matter woman, are slaves to their feelings. Very often we are controlled or led by our emotions and feelings. Smirnov claims to ignore women as much as he can, but all his claims fall flat before Popova when her cheek shone and her dimpled cheeks. So throughout the play you find Smirnov is always talking about women in a very negative sense, but at the end he is forgetting everything and then falling in love with this woman. Similarly, Popova claims to have died with her late husband, yet she cannot restrain her basic feelings of love and being loved. So in the beginning she says that she also died with her husband, but here you find her coming back from the dead to love this new person in her life, because she is overcome by her feelings of love. Next we have the theme of loneliness and companionship. Okay, both are related. Only when you are lonely you are in need of a companion. Man is a social animal and needs company for his emotional and psychological survival. So we know that no man is an island. We need other people, company. We are social animals. The playwright considers that it was loneliness that forced Popova to embrace Smirnov towards the end of the play. So it was nothing but loneliness that forced Popova to embrace Smirnov. Her mind was forcing her to be alone and faithful to her unfaithful husband, while her inner self and sexual urges were yearning for a companion. So though outwardly she was talking all that, remaining faithful to her husband and all that, but inside herself, maybe inside the heart of her heart, she was yearning, craving and wanting for a companion. She finally fell for the person she would have remained at a distance in normal circumstances. Only because she was lonely, she is falling for him. Otherwise, she would never have anything to do with this man, Smirnov. Next is the theme of love. Love is one of the basic themes of the play. Both Smirnov and Popova are claiming that they have had enough of it. So they both had a lot of experience, mostly bad experience of love. Popova's late husband was unfaithful and betrayed her at every step, whereas Smirnov would not give even a brass farthing for women and love's sake. So both had very bitter experience about love. Her husband was, cheating on her, betraying her, and Smirnov would not give even a brass farthing. Brass farthing means actually it's a small coin. Like in Malayalam we say chillikaash. Chillikaash will kodukkaruthu. That's the meaning of it. That means she did not value any women or their love. Smirnov goes on to state that he can sit on a barrel of gunpowder than to talk to a woman. So, according to her, women are more dangerous than gunpowder. They both challenge each other and call themselves names, but the deep-rooted demand of love forces them to be united. So, in spite of all that fightings and shoutings each other, they find love in each other, and it is love that is uniting them. Next, the theme of charm of beauty and physical might. It won't be wrong to consider that if beauty appeals to men, physical might and aggression has a similar and equal impact on the minds of women. So women are usually attracted towards the power and the strength of men, while men are attracted towards the beauty or appearance of women. Though Popova wishes to put a bullet in Smirnov's thick head, yet she cannot refuse him when he proposes her. So, though she was trying to kill him throughout, when love catches them, she cannot refuse his proposal. The impact of Smirnov's might when he presses the back of a chair and it creaks and breaks perhaps reflects the pressure of a man's existence on Popova, and her resistance gives way to masculine love. So, in one scene, you find Smirnov is trying to catch hold of a chair and then it breaks. So, that shows the masculine power of Smirnov, which was really appealing to Popova. Next, we have a question. The bear is a criticism on the hypocritical attitude of upper class. Discuss. So, here in this one act play, you find both the characters, that is Popova and Smirnov, both belong to the upper class, the landlords, and shows their hypocrisy and lack of sincerity. Chekhov often uses the drama to reveal the variety of attitudes in the society, his main concern being the hypocrisy of feudal class and the pragmatism of newly emerging economic sector. So, he wanted to show the hypocrisy of the high class, the feudal class. Feudal means janmi, the landlords. So, they had this hypocrisy, that is kind of double face. They appear to be very hi-fi in front of the people, but inside they can be very mean, very bad. This play revolves around two characters that accidentally come face to face. Both belong to the landed gentry. Gentry means actually Kulina Vargam. That means both Popova and Smirnov belong to the aristocracy. Smirnov is shown without a wife, while Popova's husband has died 7 months back. They go through a disagreement on matter of the payment of some money. That's what they were fighting for, the money. During their negotiations, they reveal their true personalities before the reader or audience. So, it is at this moment that you find the real characters coming out, how mean they can be, how uncivilized and how rude they can be to each other. The heroine of the play is an affected lady, affected here in the sense of not sincere, not honest with themselves. Kapatyam, natyam, affected means. And she tries to give an artificial show of modesty and innocence. So, her modesty and trying to be faithful even after her death, all these are simply kind of show, not real. She vehemently asserts her royalty with her late husband, but in the same breath, she unlocks a profound bulk of complaints against him. So, even when she is announcing her or proclaiming her faithfulness till the death, at the same time she is complaining, she is telling how unfaithful, how he was cheating her and all that. She cries and faints in an artificial way. That means it is not just real, genuine. She is all in all a hypocrite because she exploits her husband's death as an occasion to affirm herself as a mysterious goddess of devotion and fidelity. So, even after the death of her husband, she is making use of that opportunity to show that she is something great and all that, like a goddess of devotion, chastity, fidelity and all that. She treats her guest very rudely and starts a proper brawl with him. Brawl means kind of fight. Calls him names and is ready even to shoot him. She pretends to dislike him, but at heart she cherishes tender feelings for him. So, in spite of all that bitterness, fighting and all that, she is capable of loving him. Her attitude is full of contradictions. So, towards the end of the play, you find she wants him to stay, and when he is coming back, she is asking her to go away. So that shows the contradiction and fluctuations. She says yes and no at the same moment. She represents the ladies of upper class who have dual personalities and hide their true self in the curtain of false show of humility and devotion. So Popova is a symbol of high class ladies who show off before the society as they are something great, but actually they are like anybody else in the heart of their hearts. Their true motive is ease and material comfort, but apparently they take many sham stances. So ultimately they want to live a very happy and pleasant life with the material comfort, luxury and all that. But very often they have got sham stance. Sham means actually vesham, jada. They appear to be something else, something other than what they really are. Smirnov is an inconsistent person who too, like Popova, wavers badly in his manners. So just like Popova, Smirnov is also fluctuating, not steady, unsteady. What he says now, he changes later. He is agitated and disappointed. He needs money, but he at once forgets all about it and falls in love. So you find kind of contradiction in their behavior. First they call all kinds of bad names, they fight and all that, and the next moment they fall in love. A little earlier he has given very adverse remarks about love and behavior of ladies, but he takes no time in practically refuting all that he has said earlier. So in the beginning he is telling all negative things about women, about their love, lack of sincerity, faithfulness and all that. But at the end he is actually refuting everything. Refute means actually nishedhikya, because he is falling in love with a woman at the end. He is rude in handling a lady, loses temper and childishly challenges her to fight a duel with pistols. So he has no manners and he loses his temper, and like a child he is challenging her with a fight with pistols. Then quite unexpectedly he goes on his knees, offering his hand to the lady he was about to shoot moments ago. So the person who was ready to kill now is kneeling before this lady and begging for love. So that is the kind of unsteady behavior we find in Smirnov. So with that we come to the end of the bear. Thank you and have a great day.